isn't it that more people know about the connection, like Freeland, Newland, and the neocons, the connection with fascism, Nazism, and their connection and their roots being over in the very area that they're waging war against Russia. Why isn't a lot known about those connections? Hillary Clinton, all of those people have their roots in that area of Ukraine, Romania, and those areas over there. And why isn't there anyone talking about that?
Hillary has her connections to that zone
Rodham,
too.
yeah, the Rodham clan. Yeah, the Rodham clan has connections over there also.
Get out! I didn't know that.
No,
Huh.
no. But why don't you think no one's talking about those connections with Nazism, fascism, and the push for war, and the West backing the Nazis in Ukraine to take over Ukraine against Russia?
It's weird, eh? It's like I'm in Canada, and it wasn't that long ago that the whole Canadian Parliament stood up in a standing ovation for a Nazi SS Panzer Division Ukrainian freak killer who was part of the worst branch of the Bandera, Organization for Ukrainian Nationalist Collaborators in Ukraine. And this old guy, forgetting his name now, but he was given like this celebration in the Canadian Parliament. Our Speaker of the House actually got his ass fired because he was like, I mean, they threw him under the bus, this poor schmuck. But obviously, like, you heard this guy reading this speech, and Zelensky was there. Zelensky's wife was there. Chrystia Freeland was there. Her grandfather, like you said, Michael Chomiak, was the guy who was one of the closest, most powerful. Hunka. Somebody just wrote Hunka. Yeah, that's right. Hunka.
Yeah.
That was the Nazi who
Yaroslav
celebrated
Yaroslav.
Yeah. It was a joke. It was a sick joke. But nobody saw it. And this Speaker of the House of the Canadian Parliament who got fired was reading a speech, and you could see that even he kind of knew that something weird was happening. And whoever wrote a speech had said, like, this guy Hunka that we're going to be celebrating today was fighting the Russians in World War II, and he had to stop. You could see he stopped for like 2 seconds in his speech. He's like fighting the Russians in World War II, and then he got back on track, right, as a politician, because he knew that meant you're on the other side. You're with the Nazis, and he's hoping that nobody noticed. And it didn't seem like anybody noticed because it was like a full standing ovation from all parties at the time, and it was only in hindsight, after it was discovered that Hunka was already invited by Freeland to go and meet up with Justin Trudeau in his personal office and all this stuff, and his family had taken photographs. All this was known. All of this was known. It is known that Andrei Perubi, who was like a leading Azov Nazi who had come to Canada on several occasions, personal friend of Chrystia Freeland, it was known that these people are walking around with swastikas and they've got a Bandera pro-Nazi thing. And Chrystia Freeland, it's known she helped put together the papers for her uncle, who was a professor, who was compiling all of the information about her grandfather's role in Nazi Germany, or its pro-Nazi fascists within Ukraine in World War II, at rounding up all of these different Slavs and Poles and gays and everything else and killing them, over like 90,000 people. And she helped put together some of those papers, thinking that, yeah, what a great thing my grandpa did. And her uncle, who was the professor, came out saying, like, yeah, she even though she distanced herself from support, she's saying that her grandfather was helping the Jews. It's actually not true. And her uncle said that, she was working with when she was not in politics yet. So why is this not more well known? It's one of those things, living in an Orwellian state. There's just certain very obvious lines of conversation you're not allowed to have. And because it's all run, I guess, by the power of popular persuasion, like it's a behaviorist system that we live in, right? So the idea of behaviorist economists, behaviorist social engineers who study Pavlov or B.F. Skinner's theories, they're of the view, or this is also rooted in Adam Smith as well, and Smith's ideas of moral sentiments and how human beings are adaptive rather than creative beings. And so the idea amongst these social engineers is that we are blank slates. There is no such thing as a conscience that you can map, because you can't map a conscience onto a computer model, a binary 1-0 computer model. It can't exist, because they only believe in things that you can map and measure, that can be expressed in the form of computer metrics. So they're of the view that, well, okay, what is true is whoever has the power to get their definition of reality to be the acceptable calibrator around which everybody adapts to. And then you can create these clusters of opinion that they believe that has a gravitational force that people want to adapt to, or because they would rather be heard saying the right thing rather than say what they believe to be true. That's the philosophy of the oligarchy. So and it kind of works to the degree that you can get people to normalize stupidity and mediocrity and not really truly understand how their mind works and how their conscience works, to the degree that you can like manage an education system that creates decrepit, broken people thinking that they're smart, and to the degree that you can create cultural mediocrity within our music, within our films, within our video games, within our drug culture, which is somehow like now a normalized thing. To the degree that that happens, nobody knows themselves. So nobody can really use their judgment. And because they can't use their judgment, the best thing that they can do to have a conviction of something is to try to sound smart by adopting the opinions of what some authorities from their school or work or whatever, or Wikipedia, have asserted to be a consensus view, or just adopt whatever opinions your local friends have. If they're laughing at, political figure, you laugh at that political figure, even if you don't think that. And fewer people are able to stand up on their own accord and their own convictions and say to the mob, no, you're all wrong. Like the kid who says, the emperor has no clothes. That was a liberating kid. Like that kid broke everybody free. But today there's so few people who have that sovereign power. So that's part of what I'm thinking about when I hear you ask that question. Like, why don't people talk about this thing that's obviously this elephant in the room that's staring at them in the face? They could all smell the shit of the elephant that's been like just pooping in the room for the like. It's clear what it is, and nobody can say it. Right?